My mom, she actually introduced me to real estate, but she bought our house. It was a HUD home. And she bought it cash. And I remember just her being so proud.
Yeah,
it was a beautiful neighborhood mixed with different ethnicities. When we moved there, they called me Peaches. What people didn't know, I was being molested. And I had started being molested at the age of 6. People always like call me Peaches or Pretty Peaches. You're so pretty. At a certain point in my life, because of the molestation and all the attention that I got from boys, I did not want to be Pretty Peaches anymore.
Okay.
So I started acting out, making sure that I didn't dress cute. I stopped playing.
And what age was this?
I want to say I started that around 10.
Okay.
And I fought a lot. I was kind of a bully. And I know now why I was a bully, but I was kind of a bully to certain types of girls.
Why would you say you were a bully?
Because I was jealous.
Okay.
Because certain girls got to still be prissy. And I couldn't be prissy because being prissy brought so much attention.
Yeah.
It made me a
negative.
target.
Yeah.
It was a
I
target.
don't do the most, but I do a lot. I'ma make a toast, cause we still alive. No big, I feel like Pac. I shoot a shot. I'm coming in hot.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Real People in Real Estate, where we talk about the real shit and not about real estate. I'm one of your hosts, Brooke Jones, aka the Millennial Agent.
What's up, guys? It's your girl Tyra Nicole.
And I am Nicole Pay, and you guys, this is our last podcast of 2023.
I
Last
know.
podcast. And we
Wow.
are finishing with our business partner and friend, Antoinette Weaver.
Yes.
So happy to have you here. We are so excited. We have so much to dive into, but I was thinking about that. This is really, we've done a whole year of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's coming to an end, and we're going to take some time off, go regroup in the Florida sun.
Well,
Just
you
saying.
guys.
We are.
I don't know if I'm going to make it down there.
We are going to go regroup in the Florida sun. You're going to try.
See. Yeah.
And then we will be back in the new year to start this over again. But
We're coming in strong,
we
2024.
we have some amazing people coming in 2024. But I really want to dive into, I forgot. It's Antoinette Weaver, a.k.a. Peaches. We're going to put that.
Peaches.
I got to throw that in there.
Yeah.
But before we dive into you, I want to kind of dive into hot topics of 2023. Last week we really talked about some crazy. I went home and Will said, "What'd you guys talk about in the podcast?" And I was like, where would you like me to start?
Everything.
Where would you like me to start? And then when I started to tell him, he looked at me like,
What?
Why do you guys talk about that?
what? And how did you get from this topic to this topic? But I had a lot of fun last week.
It
we did. So if you guys could look back at 2023, what would you say was the most crazy thing that you can remember, controversial?
In the news.
In the news, anything that may have happened, what would you think that you were just damn?
I think it was the Will Smith slap.
Yeah.
I think that was.
You don't think that was planned? Can we be?
Wait. I didn't say I didn't think it was planned.
I was gonna say.
But that was the
I know who I'm talking
biggest
to.
thing in surprise.
It was.
I think it was really early in the year. So, but so
That
we were
opened a
did
can
it
of
happen
worms.
this year? But yeah, it did.
That opened a whole can of worms.
Yeah.
Even diving into Jada and Will and their relationship and everything about them. And then she came out with that book.
Yeah. Did anybody read the book?
Did you?
I want the book.
You want the book?
Yeah.
You
I
didn't
did not.
read it.
Did you, Lenny? Did you?
Anybody?
I have it on my
On your audio?
Spotify.
Your Spotify?
What's the book about?
It's on Spotify.
Her life.
Her
I
life.
guess.
She dove into, and people were saying, and I remember because I was all team Will. I'm Jada's done making him look stupid. Just stop. I even posted on I think TMZ on Instagram she just needs to stop talking because you're making the man look dumb.
Yeah.
But then I heard her book totally started to give her some credibility back.
Really?
And I don't know the book. I didn't read the book, but people online were saying it was starting to give her some credibility back.
I didn't hear good reviews from it.
didn't?
Online. I heard a lot of people were saying she was lying about stuff, and I don't know. I didn't read the book, so I can't.
I'm very interested to read the book.
I would be.
Yeah, there's two sides to every story.
Yeah.
So
There's
you're
actually
hearing
three.
what she's, yeah.
Yours, hers, yours, his, and the truth. That's
Yeah.
what my mom always told me. There's always three sides to every story.
Yeah.
So I'd be interested. I don't know what do you have? Do you have anything? Do you guys have anything? I'm trying to think. So much happened last year.
Oh, about last year. Well,
Yeah,
we
or
were in
this
the
year.
group
It's not
chat.
even.
We were in the group chat talking about it, and I do agree with Tyra. I think that was probably the most viral moment of 2023, but
Yeah.
also the submarine going down, looking
Oh, yeah.
where they were trying to see the Titanic.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then
I remember that.
That was a huge thing in the news. Rihanna at halftime, pregnant, and everybody's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Oh,
is
you
she
were at our
pregnant?
house, and we were literally like,
Yeah.
she was at our house, and everyone stopped,
Yeah.
and we like looked at each other like, wait, is she pregnant?
Yeah.
I remember
all of
that
these are
moment.
like a whole bunch of rituals.
So the stuff that's unfolding now about P. Diddy and
Yeah.
Oh, we
really dove into that last
into
week.
that.
maybe Tyler Perry with
What?
Christian Keith.
Yeah, I was gonna bring
I
that
didn't
up in the
hear
chat.
what? Okay.
Yeah.
Watched
Don't forget
it.
about
Do you think it's Tyler Perry?
I think it is.
Okay.
TD Jakes
when he
is
said he's
connected
a,
also.
when he
TD
said
Jakes is
billionaire-
coming up.
Connected to it
Yeah.
also.
Wow.
So let's spill on that real quick because you talked about TD Jakes, Will. You talked
Yes.
about TD Jakes and you talked about that. But Tony, go ahead and dive into that because I don't know the title. I don't know.
So I watched this. I want to say it was Saturday. I think he went live or something.
went live,
And so
yeah.
I
Tyler
didn't-
Perry?
No, Christian.
The guy.
Christian Keys, and he's from Detroit.
Okay.
He's an actor that did a lot of work on Tyler Perry's stuff.
Okay.
And he just kept alluding to like I got receipts.
Yeah.
He's like.
What?
He said something about I would have an ink pen or I might have a pen on my shirt or
Yeah.
but you wouldn't know what it was. Even if I had to turn my phone off, I was always recording.
Yeah,
And
he
he's like,
said
I'm just
that.
getting tired of you guys putting this person up on this high pedestal. And he said, I really want to say names. He said, but I'm gonna go to the cops with what I had. He's like, I don't want any money. He's like, he said, I purposely let the what you call it, where you can't get any money back from I can't
The
remember.
NDAs?
Or no, is it the statute of limitations?
Statute of
Oh, okay.
limitations run out because I didn't want anybody to think it was about money. He
Okay.
said, but I'm a straight heterosexual male, and for you to push yourself on
Yeah.
me, and for me to tell you no, and then you still grab my stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wait, was this the one that I think I saw this? He said an actor climbed in bed with him.
He said a big time.
Actor climbed in bed
Big
with him.
time producer that gave him work and that gives people work.
Is this the same guy?
This the same guy, and he's like, he said, I know people are going to be mad at me because this person gives a lot of people work. He mentioned this person is a billionaire. Like,
It has to be Tyler Perry.
I'm like, dang, it's Tyler Perry.
But
I mean,
the
who else
only
would
thing,
it be?
someone, and I didn't even watch it because it's so much clickbait. But they were saying why they don't feel it's Tyler Perry, but I didn't end up clicking on it to see exactly what he said. But everything he said gave me Tyler Perry.
He said this person he said as soon as you hear the voice, you're gonna know who it is because this person has a very distinctive voice.
He said he got receipts.
Yes.
He got videos.
Everybody's coming out with the tea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Will, what you said TD Jakes is even linked to this. What does that
To
have
the
to do?
Diddy stuff.
To
Yeah,
the Diddy
so-
stuff?
Yeah, so TD Jakes has been P. Diddy's pastor for years.
Okay.
So everything that P. Diddy does, he goes and kind of confesses it to TD Jakes. But TD Jakes has also been to these parties.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
that
what you said.
P.
Yeah, he's
Diddy
been at the
throws,
parties.
or
Yeah.
that he has. And these parties that are anything goes, and for him to be a pastor
And be at these parties.
at
Right.
these parties,
Whew.
He's always giving me gay.
Who?
but it's
TD Jakes.
TD
I don't know.
Jakes' son was caught
He's like a pastor.
coming from one of the parties and pulled over coming from one of these gay parties,
No way.
and it's on record.
Whew,
Yeah, it's a lot
man.
going
It's
on
a
in
lot.
Hollywood.
It's a lot. So
I
I
It's
don't
coming
watch the
down. Like
news.
everybody's coming.
And I don't know. Last week we talked about Epstein Island too, and I
Yeah.
was really into that because it kind of just sickened me to even think about. Remember, you guys, I told you that all the files from that trial were not released. I just read today, and I actually copied it, and I was going to send it in our group chat. That next year, the beginning of next year, 170-page file of the names that were listed in this court trial were going to be
It's
released.
gonna be everybody. Like
But this
all
is
the
my thing,
major
though.
names.
And so I
Jay-Z
started-
and Beyonce.
Yeah.
I started going through
Will and
like the
Jada.
comments though, and some people were like, they're doing that as clickbait. Like they're really not going to release all the people you think they're going to release, and they may even take some people's names out. Like, why would they give us that bait?
Yeah.
That they're going to release the names, or people who know they may be on that list, and you're reading it that
They'll
they're going to.
take- Well, I heard they did that with the Cassie lawsuit. So they said that Jay-Z Beyonce and a few other big names were in there.
T.I. and his lady.
Yeah, it was like
Tiny.
a lot of big names in there about different situations, and they had it like taken out or something before it got
So
to
that's
public.
what people in the comments were saying. Like, we
Yeah.
can all get excited that all these names, 170-page list of names, is going to be released, but it's not going to
Yeah.
be the names that we think it's going
Because
to
they
be.
actually said like Beyonce witnessed it one time, and she kind of like took up for Cassie, and then she was like really mad at Jay-Z because he was just standing there or whatever and not saying nothing. And yeah, so they said all of that was in her lawsuit.
And that reminds me of, I sent Nicole something that day.
Did you just call me Nicole?
my wife?
No, you.
What does he normally call?
What,
Nikki?
have you guys ever heard him call me Nicole?
Well,
Nobody calls.
It was awkward. Nobody called. Like,
I call you Nicole.
I'm sorry. That like threw me off for a minute. I'm like, did you just call me Nicole? Rob's the only one who
He's
calls
being
me Nicole.
professional
Yeah,
right
that-
now.
You call me Nick.
No,
like,
I call you Nicole.
You call me Nicole too?
I always call you
What do you
Nicole.
call me?
Yeah, man.
Nicole.
She called me Taco once and I blew up. I was like, what? Man, don't call me that.
It like threw me off
Mad at
though
me?
because I'm sorry, you guys. That totally. Remember when he was sitting next to me and he like threw me off for a bit?
Yeah.
That
Oh, he calls
really-
you Nick.
He calls me. He calls me Nick.
He does always
But
say
that's when
that.
I was on camera. Now,
You call me Nick. That's why I was like Nicole. Like, damn, am I in trouble?
That is just serious.
It is. That's kind of like when like you say "Hey, babe," and then you're like "Hey, Nick" or "Hey, Nicole." Like,
What did
Yeah.
what I do? Like, I'm not Nick.
He was serious about whatever he was about
I'm sorry.
to
You
say.
can edit
We
this
missed-
part out.
yeah,
I'm
we
just.
no, it's okay. So, anyways,
I'm sorry, y'all. That totally threw me off.
I sent her something that Dame Dash poured his heart
Oh,
out
yeah, he
about
did.
the Aaliyah situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I saw something similar.
What's wrong?
That was
You looking for something?
No, I was.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm like,
so him and Jay-Z was trying to get at Aaliyah at
Yeah.
the same time.
I think Jay-Z
Aaliyah
was with
didn't
her
like-
first, right?
No.
no.
They hung out, but they never did anything.
Yeah.
Oh,
But she didn't like his character. He was sending her flowers and all type of stuff, but it was never anything that went beyond that.
Mhm.
She was actually feeling Dame, and they got together. And that's really the reason why they broke up and separated, because she found out, or he found out the truth about what happened with R. Kelly. And then
yeah, I heard that.
Jay-Z went and worked with R. Kelly
Yeah.
After she
knowing
died.
this.
Yeah, on that best of
Because-
both worlds.
Correct, because she told Dame and Dash that, look, R. Kelly flat out raped me.
Yeah.
Mm.
And the record label told me to silence it. And so he's
And
been
he said-
holding on
yeah.
to this. He's been holding on to it, and now he's coming out. He's
Yeah.
coming out. He's like, I don't deal with Jay-Z.
That's
He
why they
said-
fell out.
R. Kelly deserved everything he got. And he
Mhm.
said Jay-Z is covering for this guy.
Yeah.
The label was covering for him. He said everybody that worked around him was covering for this dude being with 13, 14-year-old girls.
Yeah.
It's
ridiculous.
crazy.
And he
was a
even
hard
said like that
documentary.
Aaliyah was the love of his life, and that he was in like one of the deepest mourning periods of his life, and to see someone that he considered a best friend to turn around and go do
Work
Yeah.
work with the man who like basically destroyed
Jay-Z
her
is
life.
next. I don't know if you guys listen to that.
You keep saying
girl,
that, yeah.
Jaguar Wright. Do anybody listen to her? Like
that?
she talked about this stuff like a few years ago. She talked about the Diddy stuff. She talked about Jay-Z. She just talked about everyone, and she was like, she just wanted the truth to be out
Yeah.
there or whatever. And so she said Jay-Z's worse than Diddy. So
But Foxy Brown,
yeah, that's what I brought up last
Well,
week
we need
about
you on
Foxy.
camera because when I'm like editing this and they're hearing like somebody talking,
They ain't gonna see it.
it's gonna be
I'm sorry.
pointed at them
I know
and
he just
nobody's
wants.
talking.
No, William just wants to be on
No,
camera.
but you
so
should be on
bad.
camera. Just sit
He's
down.
like so itching to be back.
Get middle spot.
I'm just.
We need a chair.
Go ahead, pull up the chair.
Pull the chair.
Did you
up.
want
Pull
to
up
sit
the
down
chair.
with us?
no, it's all right. Y'all go ahead.
No, you should.
Now he's like not going. But to think about like what is going to be happening, and I told you this last week. I specifically said last week. Do we really think that this is going to come into fruition? Do we really think this is going to come to a head the way that it's playing out to be? I don't think it's going to. I think it's going to be
has anything to do with it because
Huh?
50 Cent is.
Oh yeah, he's doing the
he's
surviving
going
Diddy
in.
already.
Set it and
He's going in.
Yeah.
I do think he's going to jail. I don't.
You
It,
think
it could
so?
be. It could be 2 years from now. It could be 3 years. I mean, look how long R. Kelly's situation has been going on.
and
I
look
mean,
how
he's
long
been
it
in
played
court
out, yeah.
so many different times, and he finally was there.
I
I
would just-
think it's going to be a while.
I would
but
just
I think
hope.
he will eventually.
I hope something actually does, because the way that these women are being treated and the stuff that these people are doing that have money, and you know, the sex trafficking that we've talked about
Yeah.
before, like at some point somebody has to say something.
Yeah,
And
it's not just him. It's like all
there's
the
so
high
many, and
ups,
that's like even
all
with the
elites.
Epstein Island. Like, I wonder who's going to be on that list, and if they're going to take people off that list. Like, will people pay to be taken off that list? I guess we'll find
Yeah.
out next year. But
So,
We'll
what are
see.
the other monumental moments?
Oh, monumental
Tony
moments.
and Nicole, what do you guys feel was memorable?
I'm trying to think. Like, I don't even know if I know we were just talking about Jay-Z and Beyonce, but I will say we did go to the Beyonce concert.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It is-
her tour.
yeah, her tour, and don't
You
shake
went to
her.
the ritual.
Don't.
Exactly.
Another
I was
ritual.
waiting
No,
for you to
just-
say that.
No, it was.
But
So,
yeah, it
so
really was.
so we go in knowing the stuff that we've talked about before.
Mm-hmm.
We are very well aware of what we're walking into. I can fully see how people can go in there and be completely in a trance to what she does. She is a straight performer, and I will say that there's you. And I'm not gonna have William start talking again.
I agree.
'cause
I've been to her concert
he's gonna
before, so
pipe in, but for me to drag Will to the concert and for Will to actually enjoy himself, like she straight puts on a show.
yeah.
And that was actually her concert in Detroit was when we had those really bad storms.
Yeah.
In Detroit,
They
there
were
was a ton
saying
of
that like she
flooding.
brought in the storm.
Yeah.
Turned the lights out or something. I
Of course she
remember
would
that.
say that. But one thing I did respect about her was the concert started 2 hours late because she wanted to make sure that every single person that paid for her tickets got to their seats to be able to, because I mean the entire city was flooded.
See, I don't take that as a
Yeah, I
good
remember
thing.
that.
You're not,
She
if you're
wanted to
going to
make
talk
sure-
it on camera.
I'm sorry. She wanted to make sure everybody was
In a trance. You say this now. You were not saying this when we were
She
at the
just
concert.
seems like a
Absolutely, I
robot
was.
to me, and
I
they
blast.
say that too about Jay-Z having her very controlled.
Oh, I believe that.
But
I
she
believe that.
literally seems like
there-
a robot to me. Like she just, I don't know. It just.
I think the first time I've ever seen her not in that state is the whole elevator situation, which makes me even wonder if that was even real. with
Solange knows a lot.
Oh, I'm sure she does.
That's
And
why
so
you don't
that,
hear
like,
from her much.
That came out. But I will say, even having Blue Ivy, like being on the tour, and I kind of watched some behind the scenes stuff like that. To be even, what is she, 11, I think?
I think she's 11.
On stage
Yeah.
like that, and to do that many tours, I have kind of like mixed emotions about it.
Really?
Like, I feel like, yay, like let's start
Yeah.
building her empire. She's 11. Like, would you want your daughter to be on a tour? Like, I mean, maybe,
I think they're trying to,
I
get her brand
I feel like they're
started.
grooming her.
and-
Like, I
yeah.
feel like they're already starting to groom her to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if that's what she wants to do, I mean,
That's
I don't
true.
see any problem with it. Fun fact, do you know that Blue Ivy's name was actually supposed to be Brooklyn?
I did not know that.
The reason why they named her Blue Ivy is because when Beyonce was having the ultrasounds, they would call her like their little blueberry, and they just stuck with blue.
Wow.
That I did not know that.
But
I do like
Tony,
Blue
tell
Ivy.
us a
Yeah, what is yours?
monumental
Oh,
memory.
I brought up the Diddy.
Oh
That
yeah,
was
she
mine.
did.
Diddy. Okay, yeah, yeah.
We really,
That's kind of
we hardcore.
recent.
Yeah.
What about Trump going to jail? I don't
Yeah.
follow the news that much, so I don't know. I just seen it
I'm gonna
popping
not open my mouth
in
on
here
that one.
and there. But I don't know anything about it. I don't know why. I just know that he
That was
did, and
good.
now I think he's running for president again.
No, he's not allowed to run for
So
president.
I'm confused.
I didn't know
So I
that.
think this is
See,
why
I don't watch the news.
I don't watch the news
Okay,
either.
just come into
There you
camera.
go, it's breakfast.
I know. Oh, there we go. We're gonna come into camera. So go
There you
ahead.
go.
So yesterday we
That's
were.
perfect.
Where
Yeah,
were we
so-
at? Yesterday we were at.
No, I get. So I'm on Twitter.
You don't just stand normal.
X. I know. Okay.
Just be normal.
So, anyways, Trump is disqualified as a candidate
Oh.
under the 14th Amendment.
Does anyone know what that amendment is? 'Cause
I wondered
definitely don't.
about
So
that.
here's the thing: I threw all amendments out of the window when they allowed. So I'll just put it that way: our country doesn't follow any of the Constitution, but in this particular case, they want to follow constitutional values, which he did not. He did not break it. So,
What is it?
I'm looking it
So,
up.
so
Yeah.
let's look it up. I don't know if so I can kind of per
So
se.
there's three
say what
sections of
is,
it. There's three.
Because it's long.
Section 1, Section 2, Section 3.
Yeah.
Equal protection and other rights. All persons born and naturalized in the United States. Oh gosh.
So in other words, they found
can you
something.
simplify this, because this is
Summarize.
I have
summarize
no
it or
clue.
something?
Yeah,
I'm
so,
like,
so supposedly he broke the law against the country.
He did.
This is what they say. He broke the law against the country. But
Started a
But how
whole
though?
riot.
okay.
but that's
Yeah.
the thing. So Tony,
I
I'm
don't
telling
think we
you.
should really dive into
I'm telling
this.
you that
I'm confused
Hold on,
with
wait,
the
wait, hold on,
whole
wait.
situation.
Don't.
So that was a stage, just like 9/11 was a stage.
Yeah,
It's all a stage.
Yeah.
He didn't create a riot. They had the only person.
You know you're on camera, right?
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
It's fine.
They had the only person who
I'm
was
just
really
saying.
an American citizen.
Allegedly.
And somebody who was for American values. But they painted him as a racist, but he's not.
Yeah, I totally
and
get
that's
that.
okay. So there's three things you don't talk about: race, religion, and politics. But
I'm all for it.
and this is my thing, and the problem that I have is even when they tried to pin him as a racist, if you go back and literally they took snippets of what he was saying and didn't put the whole context of around what he was saying, which is what they do with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like that, like you can see when people do interviews and then they go back and rewrite or read the interviews, people have come out and said that's not how I said
Yeah.
it.
That's what I do with our shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do.
Make it interesting.
So it's kind of such a touchy subject because there's a lot of, like, Trump is a businessman. And I'm going to say that word. Does he suck at what he says? Absolutely. It does. At the end of the day, he's a businessman running a business, which is a country. A corporation, which is a country, and that's what you're doing. The problem that I have is the stuff that they're like, Trump didn't pay taxes. There are people on the internet, I'm not going to name names because he is a part of the EXP world, that literally talks about how he avoids paying taxes with his children. He's teaching his children how to not pay taxes. And there are videos that are very much out, and he's a part of EXP.
That's not smart.
And the problem that I have is they're airing this and people are applauding this.
It's all just a.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if we're going to be across the board standard, let's be standard across the board. I don't understand how this person can't get in trouble for what he's airing with his children about.
Oh, he's gonna get in trouble for not paying taxes, especially if it was on the public.
So hold on, can I ask a question?
Hold on.
Oh, hold on. Tony's going to take care of you.
So
It's Ty.
here's what
Ty. Sorry, his name's not Tony, it's Ty.
Here's the segment that I want to do. I want to ask everybody in the room why they think they should pay taxes.
Don't ask me.
I was just talking to someone about this. Like, we should not be paying taxes.
Because the people that are having you pay taxes, they don't even own this land.
Absolutely not. We should not.
See,
make
you are
sense.
opening so many
We
cans of
about to
worm
go
right
down a
now.
whole
We about to go
rabbit
down
hole.
a rabbit
It's a big
hole.
rabbit hole.
And I don't think we're ready for all this.
It's a whole nother podcast.
And if
It's
you're
a
paying
whole
taxes,
podcast.
go to bed at
but
10.
yeah.
Who are you paying taxes to?
You say you go to bed at 10?
Think about that.
Oh, girl, what time is
Who are you
it?
paying
Yeah,
taxes
we need
to?
Yeah.
to. That's a whole because we did talk about like that a little bit. We touched on that a little bit, but
Yeah.
that's a whole rabbit hole, and I would love to get in the conversation. And again, there's just three things that are hard things to talk about, and politics is definitely one of them. But I do, 2023 was a very interesting year. 2024, whew, man. If
Let's
we're ending
go.
2023
Let's
the
get
way
into
that's
it.
happening, I can't wait to see what 2024 is going to be. But I really, really need to know, where did Peaches come from?
Yeah. Now to you. No.
Because now I want to know where Peaches came from.
So Peaches came from birth. When I was born,
Uh-huh.
I was a certain complexion, and I had a lot of hair. I was very hairy, so I had
Like peach fuzz.
Oh, okay.
So that complexion
that's
mixed
actually
with
really
the
cute.
with the hair gave me my nickname.
Who gave it to you? Your mom, your dad?
My uncle Jesse,
Oh, that's
and he actually called me Peacherina, and the rest of the family called me Peach.
Peaches. So that's been like forever.
Forever. Yeah, I'm 51, so that's been forever. But I stopped people from calling me that at a certain point in my life.
Why?
Because I didn't want to be Peaches.
Okay, so you didn't want to be Peaches. So Antoinette's your name. And then we kind of talked about like behind the scenes before we get on here. And when I said to you that I was going to ask you where the name Peaches came from, you said, well, maybe we should start where the name Tony came from. So let's talk about your childhood. Like, let's talk about growing up. Where did you grow up?
Okay. So I grew up on the east side of Detroit.
Okay.
We moved to the infamous 48205. It's a very bad area now. But when we moved there, it was a diverse area, middle class. My mom, she actually introduced me to real estate. She's not a realtor or anything like that, but she bought our house. It was a HUD home.
Okay.
She bought it cash. And I remember just her being so proud to say that I was able to buy this house cash.
Yeah,
and
that's
it was a
proud.
beautiful neighborhood mixed with different ethnicities at the time. And again, when we moved there, of course, they called me Peaches. That was my name. What people didn't know, though, I was being molested, and I had started being molested at the age of 6. And so people always like call me Peaches or Pretty Peaches. That's what you're so pretty. And at a certain point in my life, like because of the molestation and all the attention that I got from boys, I did not want to be Pretty Peaches anymore.
Okay.
So I started acting out. I started acting different. I started making sure that I didn't dress cute. I stopped playing.
And
with
what age was this when you started that?
I think I want to say I started that around 10.
Okay.
10 years old when we moved to 48205. I was 10 and it was like 5th grade. And I fought a lot. I was kind of a bully.
Okay.
And I know now why I was a bully, but I was kind of a bully to certain types of girls.
Why would you say you were a bully?
I know I was a bully, and it was because I was jealous.
Okay.
Because certain girls got to still be prissy. And I couldn't be prissy because in my mind as a child, being prissy brought so much attention. It was
negative.
me a target.
Yeah,
it was a
it
target.
became negative.
So like I'm looking at this girl that gets to wear her hair with the pigtails and all this and dress really cute and play with dolls and stuff, and I honestly was envious because I'm like, that was me. But when I do this I'm weak because these boys are doing these things to me, and now I have to completely change who I am because I didn't know what to do.
Gotcha.
And so I started acting like a boy, walked differently, talked differently, and it wasn't until I got to middle school. I went to a school called Bates Academy. Back then, that school was like Fame. You guys are younger, so I don't know if you remember Fame.
We're not that younger. I remember Fame.
But it was a creative space, and we, all the teachers were young, so we did a whole lot of different things with arts and stuff like that. And there was a girl that was a year older than me, and I remember she came to me one day on the playground, and she said, "Antoinette," she was like, "You're so cool." She said, "We got to give you a different name," and she said, "Tony." And it was like the heavens opened. I'm like,
you're like a whole new person.
that's it. That's what it is. Because Tony is boy.
Like a boy name.
Like a boy. Even though it's Tony with an I. But for me, it was Tony with a Y. And it fit who I had been emulating for the last few years. And I remember talking to everybody at the school that same day that was supposedly my friend. I said, if you call me Antoinette again after this,
you gonna get your ass beat.
Beat your ass.
Get your ass, Tony. I'm only responding to Tony.
Yeah.
I'm only responding.
Remind me not to call. I'm just kidding.
And I went home the same day because I'm pumped up.
Yeah.
And I went home and I told my family, "Hey, this day
name-
forward,
My name Tony.
do not call me. Do not call me Antoinette. Do not call me Peaches. My name is Tony."
My name is Tony.
And they were like, "Whatever, Peaches. Like we're not going along with that." But that's how I got the name Tony.
Okay.
So how I have to ask if that is such a period of your life that was hard and full of trauma. How do you not look at Tony as reaffiliating yourself to that time in your life?
So,
Or was that like your salvation?
that was my salvation. That was my protection. Because Tony was just this whole other superpower in my head. Not scared of anything, fought boys.
I like that.
You know what? But boys still like me.
It didn't work.
I developed early.
They saw through all
They
of that.
saw through all of that. A lot of them did, but again, I did fight a lot of them, and then the girls were petrified of me. And I saw honestly, when I looked in the mirror, I didn't see a pretty girl anymore. I saw a cute boy. Like, I'll make a cute boy. And that's what I did. And the girls that I hung with, I always had like a crew. Since childhood, I've always been like in like a clique. Had a clique of people. And now that I'm older, I'm looking like we were all pretty girls, but we were all boy. We were all like that tomboy type of personality, and that worked because a pretty girl that wouldn't last in our clique, because I probably would have been mean to her. Because again, I didn't know what it was then, but I was jealous because how can you get to be that and I can't be that anymore? So
yeah.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, so that was kind of something that empowered you. You would say, like, being that character of being Tony, because you felt like, did it make you feel like strong or give you strength?
It did. It was the version of me that I needed at that time. I seriously looked at myself as unstoppable in certain circumstances.
Yeah.
As far as with the abuser, though, I was still being abused, but the way I looked at it, I felt bad for Peaches when it was happening. You know,
so it's almost like you took it was like an outer body.
It was an outer body
experience. Like you took yourself out of that situation.
She's so weak and just
So how do you feel about being called?
I was just gonna say that.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
So I'm healed. I mean, I got healing. I know healing is continual.
Yeah.
But I actually, after my divorce 11 years ago, probably a year and a half after the divorce, I got to a place where I'm like, I'm good. My divorce was horrible. Kind of walked away on purpose with nothing, just for peace of mind. So it was a struggle, but I got to a place where like I'm okay now. You know, money coming in again. I feel this, and I started having nightmares about the abuse, and it pissed me off initially because I'm like, why?
Where does this come from?
Yeah, because I've never thought about it. I told my husband before I got married, I kind of told him, I was abused when I was younger. Went on from age 6 to 15. Told him the scenario, and kind of went under the rug and just went along with my life being a mom and being a wife. And so after the divorce, like I said, about a year and a half or 2 years after the divorce, I started having dreams. It was a song that the boy would sing. I give you 1 cookie if you come to the stairs. I give you 2 cookies if you come down the stairs. I give you 3 cookies if you let me touch you there. Something like that. Hey, nani, shit could do. So that song started coming to me, and so I looked up, like, I know this song. It was a song by, I think her name was Mary Wells or something.
Okay.
It was a song.
So it was like a real song?
It was a real song.
Oh, I didn't know if it was a
but
song.
It was different words. He made the words
he made the words. Okay.
Wait,
and it was,
he was saying this to you?
it was like it was a game, because that's how I was groomed. It was a game. And it went, and I don't even know if that was really the words, but in my mind, that's what I just know it was, hey, nani, shit could do, and it was a song in the 70s. I do know that.
Yeah.
So I looked it up, like, okay, that's the song. I'm like, but this is stupid. But it kept coming to me. So I reached out. I went online and started looking for help for survivors of sexual abuse, and I came across the Sasha Center, and
I remember you talking.
We talked about that.
Found the Sasha Center, reached out to them, and the lady called me back, and she's like, yeah, because I reached out, like, I found an article online. I don't know if you guys are still in existence because it's an outdated article. She called me back and was like, can you come tomorrow? And ended up going, went for a whole year, and that was what I needed. And it allowed me to tap back into all of the times that I denied Peaches. And that's why I'm like, I embrace it. Like, if anybody calls me Peaches, I'm like, I tell people to call me Peaches. Now my captain name is Captain Peaches, because I get to go back and redo or recapture
recreate that person,
my real self. So that's why I'm like, call me Peaches.
So I want to tap on something you said, because I've known you for the last couple of years, and seeing or hearing your story, which some of this is the first time I've heard, and knowing how put together you are today, and I see you when you go out and you're so like, I don't want to say girly because that's not, but you're so always just put together. Captain Peaches, I absolutely love this because it is a boating club for women in Detroit, and it's crazy because someone that I am friends with, work with Steph Johnson. I'm gonna call her out. Body Lounge in Royal Oak. We're gonna call her out real quick. She has been my lifesaver ever since I've had my breast cancer surgeries and stuff like that. I saw her on your page, and I was like, holy moly, it's Steph. What is she doing with Tony?
Right.
So talk a little bit about
The group.
And what you guys do, because you guys do some amazing things.
So we're newly forming. We started the group last year, and it was just we kind of knew each other from the boating community, and just being a black woman in this space, we wanted support. We know that a lot of times people look at quote unquote boat hoes, and we don't want to be looked at as being boat hoes. No, we're boat owners.
Right.
And we are serious about learning how to navigate the waterways, but we're also serious about community, and we're also serious about bringing other young black girls into this world, because it shouldn't be something that they're, it shouldn't be foreign to them. So we decided that, okay, we wanted something that's a little structured, and we started. It's called Black Women on the Water.
Okay.
And right now we have 12 members, and we just opened up applications up until February the 29th of 2024 for, black women, if you identify as a black woman. Put it like that. If you identify as a black woman and you own a boat, or you co-own, or if you like a co-captain, because a lot of people, what they'll do is go in together, like an investment, and that's how I bought my boat with me being in real estate, I bought it like an investment property.
Okay.
And then what happened was, you're like, I'm gonna be here all the time. Because some of these boats, listen, Will and I love the water. We will have a boat in the next couple years. I'm saying it right now. So
put out in the universe.
That's awesome.
It's amazing.
That's the first thing I've ever heard something like that.
Yeah, I've done so much. I've watched the story unfold, and then having Steph, I will say, when I would go post my surgery to see Steph, I looked forward to her boating stories. I couldn't wait to hear about it. And then to find out you two knew each other, I was like, wait a minute, this is amazing. So what you guys are doing, recently you just did a community event, right, for Detroit, wasn't it?
So we do, so again, with us being newly formed, we haven't made the direct connections yet with different organizations, but we're connected to different organizations personally, so we kind of piggybacked on some of their things. So the last thing that you probably saw was the shopping spree.
Yes, the shopping spree.
That brought me so much joy, because I like doing stuff like that anyway, and I can't wait until next year for us to connect directly. And I think Tyra got some girls. So,
some connections,
some girls that may need to come to the marina.
Okay. And listen, some of these boats are not small. I looked up some of these boats, because you've been posting captains, and I have boat jealousy. I have boat envy. I'm not kidding you, because some of these boats, they are beautiful boats.
She's Italian, so does she get a pass?
Because these boats are bored. I'm like, listen, put me behind. They're all taking pictures behind the wheels, and I'm like, ooh, get me behind that wheel.
I like to drive mine fast.
Whew, man.
I get scared of boats. I'm not.
You're not a boat.
I'm not either. I'm not
but I get scared.
Funny story, I can't swim.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
If something happens to that boat.
Cannot at all.
You have a life jacket on the whole time, right?
If I put it on, it's pink. So here's the thing.
She says it's pink.
So here's the thing.
Okay, peaches.
So I called my boat. So listen. So when I got the boat, I vowed that if I ever, because I had a boat when I was in my late 20s, when I my first son, he's 23. So we had a boat, my ex-husband and I actually had my baby shower at the marina, but I didn't get a chance to enjoy it because I was pregnant, and now I have a baby, and working, and then new wife, and then I never got a chance to enjoy. And I said, if I ever got in a position where I can buy my own boat, I was going to make it girly. So my boat is named Lula May after my grandmother.
No way, I love
because we used to go fishing and stuff. My grandmother
came up with an idea.
and my boat has like a disco ball. I have flowers on the wall.
Okay.
I started a boat brand called Boat Her Life. And I
Listen.
have a website called boatherlife.com, and I sell boat.
I'm so going to be a part of this.
Girly boat decor and merchandise.
I love it.
Like, you just spoke to my soul. Like,
Good.
I fully believe that there is part of my soul that is supposed to be on the water. Like,
It is. It should be cute.
I live, and it should be cute while you're on the water. I live to be, like, we're even going to the Dominican in March, and I looked at him, I'm like, we're going on a catamaran ride, right? Like, that will be in my, I have to be on the water, I have to be in the sea.
Yeah.
You gotta get her a boat.
Yeah.
Like, I'm telling you, you don't even,
I'll try.
like, that will come before a lot of stuff. But the other problem is, like, we have 4 kids. Like, boating, we have a very short, well, you guys don't have a short window of boating because the way Steph talks, she's on the boat.
To the very
and she puts her,
In
she's like,
October.
yeah, that's what she said. She's like, I saw her today, and she was like, I put my boat in April 1st, and she said, and I'm there until they make me take it out of the
force her.
water.
Yep.
And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I was like, aren't you cold? Like,
Yeah.
so our window is very short for people like me who aren't those kind of boaters. I just want to be on the water I would be out there every weekend.
But it's not as expensive as even I thought. Because the first boat, that like my husband had did that, so I didn't know. I didn't care about the expense part because we were working at the plant. We made good money. For me, as an entrepreneur, I just kind of manifested. I kept talking about it. When 2020 had us all shut down, I started hanging with friends that had boats, and I'm like, these are like regular people, like work at the restaurant. Like, these are regular people.
Right.
And I started saying, I want to get a boat. And somebody's like, hey, you still thinking about a boat? Because my friend is selling one for $7,000. And so the realtor in me, when I met this
started that
friend,
negotiating.
I sure did. I said, let me get it for $3,500.
You did not.
And you got it. Wow,
Did you get?
good.
Oh, I was gonna say.
Okay, that's good.
Brooke
and I were like,
I
wait a
didn't
minute.
get it for $3,500, but we went back and forth. I got it for $5,000 with the trailer,
Ooh.
Wow.
which was a good. And he
Wow.
had just
Yeah.
put a new engine in there, so it was a great deal.
I make William
Yeah.
take me to the boat show. What is it called now? The Expo Center. What is it called?
Oh, Como. Oh, the
No,
Novi.
not Novi.
The one in Novi.
Novi,
Okay.
they have like a boat show and stuff. I'm like, can we just go like step on them? Like, I just want to pretend
But a lot of the boats are that get repossessed. That's kind of how I got mine. It was
Okay.
a guy that worked at a boat yard, and he got it because it had been repossessed. He wanted to get a bigger boat that had been repossessed, so he had told somebody he wanted to sell his boat. He had it for a couple years, and it used to be called My Brother's Boat. And when I bought it, he let me do like a land contract, and I said that another goal, if I ever got in a position, I would want to do that for other women. Like, I would say, hey, just give me $1,000 down and then pay me over time.
That's a realtor in you.
And yep.
It is.
Yep.
So
I'm telling
Tony,
you.
where's your boat docked at?
It's at a marina called Island Harbor in St. Clair Shores. It's 9 Mile and Jefferson.
So do you do like the whole Jobby Nooner thing?
No.
Wait.
No.
She clarified that she's not a boat hoe.
I'm not a
I don't even know what that is.
You don't.
It's a big party
It's
out
a
in the
huge
water.
party.
Oh.
There's the raft off in Jobby Nooner. They both don't they both dock out of St. Clair Shores?
Yeah, they
Over
are.
in it.
Yeah.
Not that I would know or anything. I'm just saying.
And you get beads and stuff, and
Yeah.
you go topless and
Oh,
I
like
didn't
New
do
Orleans.
that.
Like,
No, I didn't do
what is
none of
that
that.
in New Orleans?
right, Mardi
I
Gras.
Like a Mardi Gras type
definitely, just
thing?
for clarification, if my children, I never got beads, but I may or may not have attended a few of those.
May not. Okay.
May or may not have been at the raft off in Jobby
So-
Nooner a couple times.
Okay, so let's go from growing up, so childhood to growing up. Give us maybe after you graduated high school.
So after I graduated high school, I immediately went into college. I went to Wayne State.
Okay.
I started Wayne State 90, fall of 90, because I graduated from school, Cass Tech.
Nice.
1990.
Technicians.
Yes.
You are trying so hard to be on this podcast.
My favorite high school in the mission.
And, you know, I didn't know what the heck I wanted to do in my life. And there was a job placement office or something on campus. And they said something about GM is hiring. So I kind of just went kind of as a fluke to kind of, because my boyfriend at the time, so I dated all drug dealers too. That's a whole that's a
we got into that.
Man, how much time do we got left? That's all.
Yeah, the mic.
She got that money. No, I'm just
That's
kidding.
a whole different thing. So at the time, my boyfriend was kind of taking care of me. I was staying with my mom. So I kind of went like, let me just make them think I want a job. I didn't want a job. But I went through the whole process for GM, and then I ended up getting hired. And I started working at this place called American Axle. It was like a spinoff.
I've heard of American Axle. My dad works for Detroit Diesel.
Okay, yep. So I started working for American Axle, and that's where I met my husband. And
Wait, so you threw boyfriend to the left?
did because I was scared.
Not the big drug dealer.
The lifestyle was
My
very
microphone and my headphones didn't go that far.
The lifestyle was very scary.
Yeah.
It started getting very scary. Initially, it was just cool. Everybody sold drugs in the 80s.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like the neighborhood thing, like
to do.
anybody, like
Find you a drug dealer.
I wasn't trying. That's just what they did. And he didn't want to get out of the lifestyle. He had gotten a big lawsuit. My boyfriend told me I got in a big lawsuit. He was in a bad accident and got like a $500,000 or something. I was like, you can do something different, and he still was. So when I got to the plant, I'm like, you know what? I can make my own money. And,
Yeah.
and so I kind of, straight got away from him. He ended up getting murdered.
No
He ended up
way.
getting murdered anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe a year and a half later.
Wow.
Wow.
And then I'm like,
Yeah.
no more street guys.
Right.
That's
For me,
crazy.
It was crazy.
And it's funny because talking about, we had said before we wanted to have isn't that the same thing that happened with Kelly? Like someone that we had.
Yeah, Kelly talked about it.
she talked about that too, which is crazy. And we've talked about having you guys kind of all together and sit back and almost same
gotta
exact
do
story.
that.
We
Yeah.
should. We have.
And I didn't seek out. Let me clear that. I didn't seek out drug dealers. Like I said, that's kind of what
you
they were.
kinda-
Yeah, I was just joking.
Yeah, but
That was a joke.
but I did like drug. I was a Cass Tech girl, so I was
Yeah.
a smart girl. But I didn't like the boys that.
Like the bad
I
guy.
like the bad guys.
bad
Shoulda
boys.
typed.
because their personalities made me feel safe. Even though their lifestyle was not a safe lifestyle, I knew if anything came,
Yeah,
they
I
were
get
they
that.
would
You know
kill
what's
or
ironic?
shoot.
We literally had this conversation
I get that.
on the way in today.
Really?
Literally, Will and I were just talking. I'm not gonna talk, but we were just kind of talking about that because he has these different personalities that come out, and I've said that to him before. Sometimes there's parts of your personality that make me feel very safe
Yeah.
and secure, and I know if anything were to happen, I don't got to worry about nothing.
That was the draw for me. I didn't need money. I got a lot of nice stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I didn't
Feel
grow up
safe.
needing material stuff. My
Right.
mom
Right.
had me at a young age. She had me at age 18. I actually was one of the first babies that stayed on campus at Michigan State with my mom.
Okay.
So I had
wow.
so my mom. So I had the
Right.
up to date stuff. So
Yeah.
I didn't need anything but that security piece because, again, the boys that I went with, they had no idea that I was molested up until age 15.
I mean,
Yeah.
for so many years you weren't safe and protected,
Yeah.
and nobody and the people that should have been protecting you weren't, and then all of a sudden you have the safety zone.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
was the natural instinct to go where
And-
it was safe.
And that's crazy because fun fact, I was molested
Did you
as
know?
well. So I was
fact.
That's not a fun fact at all. But I understand where you're going with this.
because we'll talk about that another subject. But I was saying that to say I was molested from the age 6 until 12, and I always kind of like bad guys too, but I never put two and two together that maybe it was for that safe net as well.
Because I
Yeah.
kept thinking, like, if the people, the grown-ups in my life, if they were to ask me, nobody was asking me, like, is anything happening to you? Are you okay? Because I carried myself a certain way. I just figured they assume not, you know, Peaches is good. You know, she's a tough cookie or whatever.
Right.
And I was ready to tell, but I didn't want to mess up certain things. I'm like, if I tell, then certain people are going to be in trouble, because I wasn't threatened or nothing like that. So it just was a lot of pressure.
There's a lot of mental.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
having those type of boyfriends, I was like, if I tell them, I know they'll get them. And so when
Yeah.
Did you correlate with that? Like,
Yeah, it's kind of strange how the majority of people that are molested, you're never told, like, don't tell anybody. It's just kind of like you just don't tell. It's just like something psychologically that tells you, like, you're not supposed to tell this.
Because you know it's wrong.
Yeah.
You know it's a wrong.
Yeah, and you do know
and
that.
Then when you don't tell, then that kind of pulls you to, for me, it made me kind of feel like, okay, well, I'm kind of in it. Like, I felt obligated to continue it, and then I felt
guilty.
and
You
shame.
feel guilty.
I felt guilt and shame because you letting it happen. You're still playing.
You
going,
feel
you're
guilt
going along
subconsciously
with it.
for sure.
So that was a lot of part of the healing process to realize, like, no, it was completely not your fault. Like, you're 6. Like,
right.
I have a question. When did you eventually tell someone?
I was 41. I was 38 when I told my dad, and when I told
You never told your husband?
I told my husband.
The very first person that you told
Was Jim. He was the boyfriend that ended up getting killed. I met him when I was 17.
Okay.
And he was the first boyfriend that I told, because again, the boyfriends that I had, you know, even up to 15, 16, whatever, I was drinking back then, like, because it
you
was
don't gotta be afraid to say
I
like
was drinking.
we talk about real shit here.
I was drinking back then because it was just in my head, like, you know, I felt shame, and
Was
I
it
felt
a coping
guilt.
mechanism?
It was a coping mechanism,
Yeah.
and that's why I couldn't join the sorority at Cass Tech. They called me
Which-
Wanda the Wino, and that was my name, Wanda the Wino, because I used to get drunk all the time. Nobody knew, and
So that was the story.
That was the story behind.
I ended up cussing out one of the girls, like, dealing with your fake hazel contacts on. I don't want to be in this pep club anyway. But Jim was the first person I told.
Okay.
Like I said, I was 17, and he was the man on the east side. And when I told him, he said, "Where you at?"
Right. That's what they
And
always
there was
say.
that
And I fell in love.
safety. Yeah.
And he was
Yeah.
like, "Cause I'm gonna kill them."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "I don't know where he is now. I think he's, you know,
Yeah.
in the army somewhere or whatever." He's like, "If I ever see him, he dead.
Yeah.
I got you."
Yeah. I relate. I didn't tell anyone until I was 14. 14, 15. It was like my best friend.
Okay.
And I kind of like told her like just like it was nothing. But her reaction was like, "What?"
It
Something.
made you think,
Yeah, but it was like, it's amazing now when I look back and think, like, I just thought it was nothing. Like, it wasn't
I
a
did that
big
with my
deal.
friends. You know what? Now that I think about it. So my girlfriends, I did tell them, and it was kind. I made it like it was nothing like
Right.
that. And I was the mama of. So we called ourselves the family, and I had now since I was the experienced one.
Okay.
It was like I was the mama of the family. I was the mature one, and people that went to middle school with me would always say, like, "You was like a grown woman in middle school." Well,
You had
because
to
I was
grow
doing
up.
some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even that connection with, it's called the Sasha Project, right?
Sasha Center.
Sasha Center. So you seeked out help. You went there, and now
a year.
For a year, and now what is your role?
So now I am their community liaison,
Okay.
community engagement liaison. That's one role, and then I'm also a group facilitator. So now I get to go into different facilities. One facility that I go to is a job placement place on the east side, and I go once a week and co-facilitate. They usually want two of us to be together because sometimes it's heavy, and just get to go in there and show them, like, hey, I look like you.
Look
I've been there.
Yeah.
trauma don't have to be
Yeah.
Define
the end of it all. And we just do different modalities to get them in a different mindset. And then the second place that I go to is a homeless, it's a domestic violence shelter.
Okay.
The women are homeless. And that's the one with me being a realtor. It pulls on my heartstrings because some people, it's supposed to be 90 days, and people will say, well, I've been here since. It's like, you've been here for 8 months? Like, what? And they're like, yeah, I can't get a voucher. And I'm like, how can I tie this together?
Right.
Yeah.
Full circle.
I think we talked about
so
that.
much.
We did.
Yes, like I would almost say on a daily basis. Like I get people just begging me for help. Like they think I can somehow help them, which in a way I can, but it's like in a way I can't, because the properties that I have for rent, like these owners have standards, and I can't just rent to anyone.
Right.
But like people, so many people even this year have just reached out and said they're living in their car.
That's
That's
sad.
been the thing this year. Like so many people said they're living in their car, they have kids, they have babies, it's getting cold, just, and it's like, I don't have the resources where I could just place these people. So I totally get that.
Yeah.
It's even like hearing that like gives me chills, because as a mom, as a wife, providing for my children, like even it's one thing for me to have to live in my car,
Right.
but it's another thing when it's me having to put my children in a car. It's almost like the I don't say the mental fuckery, but like to say like the mental mine of being a failure as a parent or not, when it's really sometimes not even anything they could have done to be in that position. That it just happened, like they're in that position. So I totally commend you on what you're doing, and it has to be part of your healing process as well.
It is. The pain actually gave me my purpose, because I didn't, because I was a very private person. And again, the way that I carried myself as Tony, like you would have never known that anything was happening to me, because I was a presence to be reckoned with, you know what I'm saying? So for me, when I did finally break the silence and kind of come out to everybody, I was 41, and it was because the executive director of Sasha Center, she would come in sometimes, and she's like, people will gravitate towards you, and I'm like, I don't care, because I'm not gonna say that. And this is between us, in this room. And she's like, well, think about it, because we have a thing called Take Back the Night Detroit, and we always have a keynote speaker that tells their story, and I'm like, hear you, but not gonna be me. And by the time I got to, whatever that deadline day was, I went to her and I said, I want to do it. And I came out.
How did that feel?
It felt, oh my God, it was just like so many bricks just taken off of me, and
like the way
I did my story, I had my sister holding a picture of Peaches, and then I had my best friend at the time holding a picture of Tony, and Peaches was with the dress and the pretty ponytail and the back bang, and Tony had a Jerry curl and a nanny goat and some snakeskin Adidas and Lori Bugatti glasses on, and people came up to me after that. I was scared to death, because I don't feel like I'm a public speaker. And people came up to me afterwards, and it was guys that came up to me afterwards. And then people started DMing me, and it was guys that started DMing me, and they're like, hey, I just want to let you know this happened to me, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, that's powerful. Would you ever? They're like, nope, this is between you and me.
Yeah.
So some of the women that reached out, they were from my church, from my old job, like different people. And I'm like, okay, this is something. And then with that, I'm like, it's no way I can go back inside now. Like, I'm out here, I might as well get out here, because I do have
one speaking engagement.
One speaking engagement
was literally the turning point that changed everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
I think
that's amazing.
I think it's you said that men were reaching out to you, and a lot of times we don't think about men when we think of like sexual harassment.
It happens a lot.
1 in 6 boys are sexually abused. And that's just the reported ones.
Right.
1 in 4 girls are sexually abused. And that, again, those are just the ones so many people are not doing that. I didn't report nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you
Most
report
people
it?
know. Most people
And so
don't
many times
report
it's
it.
the people
so-
that are closest to
Oh,
you that are the ones.
Yeah, it's
And
always
so that's where that
Definitely.
family or that guilt or that
then the
mentality
black
comes in
people.
that you're going to ruin everything.
With Sasha Center, with it being culturally specific, you get people that know, like so you may be being molested by somebody in your family, an uncle or cousin or whatever, but part of being a black woman is protecting black men. Because the police kill black men.
Right.
And that's
Yeah.
the narrative. That's what we have in our head.
Yeah.
So not only if I tell on him, I know he hurt me, but if I tell on him, then he might get killed by the police. So I'm just not going to tell.
right.
And there
Because
comes a
I
certain
don't-
point,
Yeah.
though, that you as a black woman need to be equally protected.
But a
Correct.
lot of this is subconsciously, meaning we don't even realize that we're
That you're
protecting.
doing it. That you're doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just
you do
not-
stuff that you don't even realize why you're doing it,
Right.
but that's why you're doing it because it's subconsciously.
And that's why I commend you,
Yeah.
like with the boating group that you're putting together with the black community and the women that you have on there. That's such empowerment, and I love it. And like I said, I've been following, I've been watching to see stuff on there. Like was even more for me, and I absolutely admire it. And like I told you, I made a joke. Like you may see me riding by you guys one day, like, hey girl, I got my boat.
Right.
I may have Will in the back, but we're gonna have that boat. But your story is amazing, and for us to be business partners, and for me to learn so much about you within like an hour and a half.
Right.
You're doing big
never know.
things,
Yeah.
but
Thank you.
the stuff that you're doing is amazing, and I hope you take pride, and I hope you're proud of yourself, because I'm over here like, damn girl, you're doing stuff.
Thank you.
And so
Yeah.
I hope that you are truly proud of yourself and where you've been and where
Yeah.
you're coming and what you're doing, because you still are, you may not be that Tony, but you're still a force to be reckoned with.
Thank you.
And it's empowering.
Thank
It's empowering for other women. And what I've taken from from my experience is I never looked at it as woe is me type of thing or got me down or depressed. I kind of looked at it as feeling empowered because I felt like I broke a chain. Because most people who do that, someone did it to them and
Yeah.
someone did it to them. And my thing was, I didn't do that to anyone.
Breaking
Right.
curses.
So I stopped that, and it made me feel empowered. So
Yeah.
that's just something that I took from it. But I'm sure you're empowering like so many other women with your story as well, and just your strength. So we just
Anything that I'm
applaud you for
attached
that.
to is for this, like always got to do with empowering women.
Mm-hmm.
Even with the real estate, I know we're not talking about it, but most of my clients, most of my investors that I deal with, that I get into, getting into investment properties, it gives me so much joy that they're women.
Yeah.
Because I did that, like when I was married, like we had properties, and I had to leave the marriage, and I left everything behind. But I was an investor at the time, and just to be able to be in a position to tell people, like, I know you can go get a HELOC, and then you can pull money out of this and do this and buy another one, and then rinse and repeat. So I know those things, and to see women to be able to implement that does give
or even
me-
have enough trust in you to
Yeah.
guide them to do that
Yeah.
is huge. So
Well, you can empathize with them because you've been in that state before, and they can lean on you and ask you for advice, and I think that's amazing. That
Yeah,
you
to,
can-
to
Absolutely.
put yourself in a position, because a lot of people stay, again, going back to the abuse, a lot of people stay in abusive situations because they're not the breadwinner.
Right.
And to be able to put yourself in a position where you like, okay, I got my own, so I'm out.
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm all for that.
Yeah, for sure.
amazing.
Yes.
This has been
Love it.
here we go. We just dove into so much different stuff, and thank you so much for joining us. I feel like there's so much more to the story that we could.
Part 2.
We always
part
say
two.
part 2.
Well, but our Women's Day for
Yeah.
sure.
So yes,
Oh,
you
definitely gotta be a part of
March.
that.
We are
March.
doing our Women's Day, and you absolutely have to
Absolutely.
be a part of our Women's Day, March 8th, International Women's Day. We will be doing our event again, and Tony will be there telling more of her story. So thank you so
you.
very much.
Thank you
for sharing your story.
for sharing your
You're
story.
welcome.
There may be a lot more people that might be reaching out to you after this. So
I hope
Yeah.
so.
Appreciate
Yeah.
you. We appreciate
Yeah.
you a
All right,
lot.
thank you.
So
Thanks for joining.
Thank you guys for tuning back in to the RPR podcast. As Nicole said, we are taking a little bit of a break for the holidays.
yes.
But we'll be back in 2024, strong as ever. So we'll see you next year.
All right.
Have a great
Bye,
one, everybody.
guys.
Peace.
It's a wrap.